New tonight on KGW News, a Vancouver man killed while volunteering in Ukraine.
He was fighting the only way he knew how, by love and helping people out.
Plus, Portland City Council passes a contentious budget, the changes that made the cut. Then, the indigenous history and painful past archaeologists are uncovering at an Oregon university.
It's exciting because it gives us a glimpse into people that were here.
And later, how Washington State Police are now using cell phone data to target speeders. Good evening, everyone. We want to get right to breaking news and what appears to be a new ICE arrest caught on camera in the streets of downtown Portland. Just moments after a Colombian man seeking asylum, court documents say appeared in immigration court. Catherine Cook's in the newsroom with the details in the video. Catherine, we haven't seen anything quite like this, at least not here.
Yeah, and David, we believe this would be at least the fifth asylum seeker this month to be detained by ICE right after leaving immigration court in Portland. A woman who works nearby shot this video and shared it with us. The man was pulled over. The man was pulled over by ICE agents a few blocks away from the federal building where he appeared for an immigration hearing. You can see two ICE agents talking with him and his attorney. According to court documents, the attorney says while she was trying to translate for her client, one of the agents threatened to break into the man's car window to remove him. She says an agent then reached into the car to unlock the door. That's when the man got out willingly and was taken into custody. Attorneys say the man is from Colombia, but has been living in Oregon and filed an asylum request in 2023. His attorneys say he has no criminal history in Oregon, but ICE agents told them he was being arrested because of, quote, enforcement priorities. David?
Which is both crystal clear and confusing at the same time. So, Catherine, do we have any idea if the man who was detained is still in Oregon?
We don't know that right now, David. His attorney says she went to Portland's ICE facility hoping to see him and was told it was closed because of protesters. She also got conflicting information on whether her client would be taken there or straight to the detention center in Tacoma. Now, the attorney did file a petition with the court in an effort to keep him in Oregon if he's still here and get his case heard quickly. We'll definitely follow up on this case. David?
Yeah, Catherine Cook on the breaking news. Appreciate your reporting. Well, now to the war in Ukraine and a Vancouver family who says their loved one, a volunteer helping clean up the capital, Kyiv, was killed during a Russian strike earlier this week. That attack on Monday left at least 28 people dead, many inside a 9-story apartment building, and over 150 people injured, making it the deadliest in the Ukrainian capital this year. This all coming amidst a Russian summer offensive and uncertainty about future U.S. military support for Ukraine. And the family of Fred Grandandy reached out to KGW after they learned that tragic news. Alma McCarty went to meet them in Oregon City.
He just was always kind of took that extra step to help people.
This passion leading Fred Grandandy out of Vancouver and to Ukraine.
Yeah, he was definitely not a soldier.
No.
He was a very lovable guy and always happy to see other people.
Yeah.
Right. And
I was afraid when he got in there they'd be support on the front line.
Instead, his sister, Sitska Reed, and his nephew, Kenneth Reed, say he was volunteering after Russian bombings and drone strikes.
These group of people would go out and they would clean up the streets and the debris. He felt he was right where he's supposed to be and doing what he felt he needed to do.
Sitska explains she'd just spoken with Fred 5 days before the latest attack on the Capitol, an attack the family would soon learn claimed his life.
I can't even think about what he went through when that bomb hit that building. I just ache.
We are aware of last night's attack on Kyiv, which resulted in numerous casualties, including the tragic death of a U.S. citizen.
The Reeds say the American consulate in Ukraine phoned the family, breaking the tragic news.
It looked like a drone strike, and it just took out the building.
I mean, the whole middle of it's gone.
Following this strike, crews sort through rubble and ash. Fred Grandandy no longer among their ranks.
He was really happy to go try something. He was really happy to do that.
His family tells me they'll remember him this way: kind and gentle, funny and lighthearted, someone who sincerely cared.
You can talk to him about serious stuff and he'd just make you feel better about it. He was just an incredible man.
You know, people on Facebook from all over the place said, I knew Fred over there.
Yeah, we're getting quite a bit of outpouring. I mean, it's only been 2 days or, you know, so, but, you know, we're seeing a lot of support.
When the dust settles, they hope to bring him home and to properly honor him.
He was fighting the only way he knew how,
Yeah.
you know, by love and helping people out.
Grandandy's family started a fundraiser in order to bring his body home and lay him to rest. We'll have a link to that up on KGW.com.
All McCarty reporting there. Well, new tonight, the roof of a home collapsed during a fire in northwest Portland. Portland Fire and Rescue arriving at the scene on Skyline just after 7 with the house fully engulfed in flames. Crews were able to knock down the blaze in less than half an hour. Now they're keeping an eye on potential hot spots in the surrounding brush. No one was injured and no word yet on the cause. Well, let's head outside on this Wednesday night with a live look over the Rose City with the summer solstice now less than 48 hours away. Though, if you were hoping for a stretch of sunny and hot weather, well, looks like you're going to have to wait. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here with the first look at your weather impact forecast. Okay, Joe, here it comes. So what is the timing on the rain?
The timing is going to be by, I'd say, 8, 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday. So tomorrow, the last full day of spring is going to be a bone dry. And the official start of summer is 7:42 on Friday night. But let's bring in the future cast showing the graph model. As we put this into motion, we'll start to see those showers kind of taper off a little bit at times by late morning, early part of the afternoon. That right again around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Friday, the showers pick up again, and there'll be numerous showers throughout the day for the last few hours of spring, if you will. And then the big system moves onshore, heading into basically Saturday morning, and this is picking up some yellows and some oranges. Kind of gives you an idea of just how wet things will be, but it's a good portion of the day on Saturday, and then by the later part of Saturday night into Sunday, we'll start to dry out, and our temperatures will gradually warm up. But this is that front that pushed off to the east earlier today, but we have a couple of systems out there in the Pacific, but this is the big one that's coming. That's going to be coming through parts of Gulf of Alaska, bringing our temperatures down on the cooler side as well. So as we look at tomorrow, we'll be looking at a little bit of some sunshine to start things off. Temperatures will be topping out in the mid-60s by the early part of the afternoon. I'm expecting to see daytime highs similar to what we saw earlier this afternoon, right around the low 70s. But again, once we get past the first weekend of summer, we'll gradually see our temperatures warm up. And the first couple of days of summer, I'd say heading into the next part of the week, things will start to be a little bit more pleasant. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we need the rain, so it'll all work out. Thanks, Joe. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, MAX service on the Orange Line has resumed after a train in southeast Portland struck and killed a cyclist. This was at the intersection of Southeast Division and 8th this afternoon. Investigators say the cyclist was headed north but rode into the southbound lanes to get around the railroad crossing arms. Officials are urging everyone to obey those signals and not to try to beat a train. In Clackamas County, opening statements got underway today in the rape trial of former Trailblazer Ben McLemore. McLemore is accused of raping a woman in 2021 at a house party in Lake Oswego. He has denied the allegations, and in court, his attorneys argued both parties were intoxicated and what occurred was consensual. Here's the prosecutor, followed by a defense lawyer.
She eventually slips off the couch and onto the floor. She doesn't even catch herself. She's playing dead. But that doesn't deter the defendant.
There was no withdrawal of consent. There was consent, and there was no withdrawal of consent until after the fact.
McLemore is charged with rape, unlawful sexual penetration, and sexual abuse. In a sign summer is nearly here, Clark County public health officials are telling people to stay out of Vancouver Lake because of harmful algae. Warning signs about elevated levels of cyanotoxins are now being posted. That means no swimming, no animals in the water, and avoiding any areas with scum. A similar warning has been in place for Clackamas Lake since earlier this month. And a 43-year-old man is recovering this evening after he fell near the summit of Mount Hood. Portland Mountain Rescue and the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office sharing these images with us. This is around 7 yesterday morning. First responders say the climber fell when he was about 500 feet below the summit, suffering a leg injury. His climbing partner called 911 for help. Rescue teams mobilized as quick as they could, and around 8 hours after the fall were able to ski him down the mountain. In an update tonight, Portland City Council has given its final stamp of approval to the budget for the next fiscal year. This follows weeks of debate that included more than 100 amendments from city councilors and an $150 million funding gap. The final budget includes some added fees you might notice. There's an additional cost for taking ride shares, using city-owned golf courses, and parking downtown. The budget allocates money for 8 more shelter sites. The city says will serve more than 800 people, and it expands Portland's street response by adding positions and more hours. And while the budget means some city workers will lose their jobs, that exact number is still being worked out.
I'm sorry to those whose jobs we couldn't save. I do want to point out we achieved a lot of really important things. We invested in parks maintenance and safety, invested in emergency management, and reversed many of the years of cuts.
Funding for Portland Police was a major sticking point throughout the process. In the end, councilors agreed to take roughly $2 million from the PPP budget to pay for recruitment for all public safety agencies, including the Police Bureau. Well, meanwhile, up to $45 million in cuts could be on the way for Oregon nonprofits that help our youngest learners. The latest budget plan out of Salem includes cuts to pre-K and family support programs. As lawmakers work to prioritize their spending, there is a proposal to boost spending for K-12 by 11%, but early learning advocates say it is imperative to help children under the age of 5.
Without that investment, we're not getting kids ready for K, and then we're seeing that drop off in educational attainment later. So it's really one of the best places we can invest right now.
Overall, Senate Bill 5514 includes a 3% cut to all programs offered by the Early Learning Department and 10% cuts to programs including daycare and those that help kids out of foster care.